The accusation came during Sunday brunch at my mother's house. I was carefully pouring coffee when my mother's voice cut through the conversation like a knife. Your son emptied the trust fund. I looked up. Mom was standing, her face red, pointing at my 15-year-old son Daniel, who'd been quietly eating pancakes at the far end of the table. What? I set the coffee pot down carefully. My sister Natalie stood up quickly, her phone in her hand, her voice shaking with what sounded like rage. All $2.5 million, Lauren. Gone. The account balance is zero, and the last access was from Daniel's laptop. Daniel's fork clattered onto his plate. His face went white. I didn't. I never. His voice cracked. He looked at me, eyes wide with fear. Mom, I swear I didn't touch anything. My brother-in-law Marcus was already on his feet. This is unbelievable. A 15-year-old stealing from his own family? My uncle Robert shook his head. Kids these days and computers, they think they can get away with anything. I watched my son's hands start to tremble. He was 15, a sophomore in high school who spent his free time playing video games and building computers. He'd never even had a bank account with more than $200 in it. Daniel didn't take anything, I said quietly. The IP address traces to your house, Natalie said, her voice rising. The bank confirmed it, your Wi-Fi network, his laptop. That doesn't mean. The trust fund administrator called me this morning, Mom interrupted. Someone with access credentials logged in and transferred everything. Every single penny. And the only person besides the three of us with access is Daniel. You gave him access last year, remember? For his birthday? So he could see his college fund. I had given Daniel view-only access to see his portion of the trust. $250,000 set aside for his education. But view-only meant exactly that. He couldn't move money. He couldn't authorize transfers. View-only access can't make transfers, I said. Unless someone gave him more access, Natalie said. Her mascara was smudged, like she'd been crying before she arrived. Or he. He's good with computers, right? Always talking about coding and programming. Daniel was trembling now, his whole body shaking. I didn't do anything. I don't even know how to, Mom, please. I walked over to my son and put my hand on his shoulder. It's okay. We'll figure this out. There's nothing to figure out, Marcus said. The money's gone. Your kid took it. The question is where he put it and how we get it back. I looked around the table. 12 family members, all staring at Daniel like he committed murder. My mother looked devastated. My uncle looked furious. Natalie looked like she wanted to cry. Only my Aunt Sarah looked uncertain. Are we sure about this? Daniel's always been such a good kid. Good kids don't steal $2.5 million, Marcus snapped. I pulled out my phone. I'm calling the trust administrator. I already talked to them, Natalie said. They confirmed the transfer happened from your IP address at midnight last night, Daniel's laptop. Then I'll talk to them myself. I walked into Mom's study and closed the door. My hands were steady as I dialed the number for Geneva Private Trust, the Swiss firm that managed our family trust. This is Lauren Mitchell. I need to speak to Bernard Klein immediately. Bernard, who'd managed our trust for 8 years, came on the line within 2 minutes. Ms. Mitchell, I was expecting your call. Your sister has been quite distressed this morning. Bernard, I need you to send me the complete transaction log for the past 6 months. Every withdrawal, every transfer, every login, everything. Of course. Though I should tell you, the investigation is quite clear. The transfer occurred at 11:47 p.m. last night from IP address 198.162. I know, my home network. But I need the full log. Can you email it immediately? It will take a few minutes to compile. I'll wait. I sat at Mom's desk, opened my laptop, and logged into my email. While I waited, I thought about the past 6 months. The trust had been established by my late father, $5 million divided among beneficiaries, Mom, Natalie, me, and funds for the grandchildren. The account had been stable for years, except it hadn't been $5 million when I'd last checked it 3 months ago. It had been around $3 million. I'd noticed but hadn't worried. Market fluctuations, I'd assumed. Bernard's email arrived 12 minutes later. The transaction log was a 47-page PDF. I opened it and started scrolling. The last transaction was indeed at 11:47 p.m. yesterday, a transfer of $2.5 million to an offshore account. The IP address showed my home network. But it wasn't from Daniel's laptop. The device ID was listed as iPhone 12 Pro, Nathalie M. I scrolled further back. More transfers. Smaller ones, $25,000 here, $50,000 there. All from Natalie's phone, all to the same offshore account. Then I saw the pattern, weekly transfers, every Wednesday night. For the past 18 months, I kept scrolling. The amounts increased over time. Started at $5,000, then $10,000, then $25,000. Recent transfers were $50,000 each. And the locations, the gates and metadata was embedded in the transaction records. Bellagio Casino, Las Vegas. Wynn Casino, Las Vegas. Moon Grand, Las Vegas. Caesars Palace, Las Vegas. Every Wednesday, 18 months, systematic withdrawals from a gambling addict. The final transfer, the $2.5 million, had been made from my IP address, yes. But the device was Natalie's phone. She'd been at my house yesterday. She and Marcus had come over for dinner. She asked to use my Wi-Fi because her data wasn't working. She transferred the last of the accessible funds and then blamed my son. I saved the PIF to my laptop, closed it, and walked back to the dining room. The family was still there, the tension thick. Daniel sat with his head down, still trembling. Natalie was crying into Marcus's shoulder. Mom looked like she'd aged 10 years. Well, Natalie demanded, did they confirm it was Daniel? I opened my laptop and turned it toward the table. They confirmed the transfer happened from my Wi-Fi network, but not from Daniel's laptop. I pulled up the transaction log on my screen. The device was Natalie's iPhone 12 Pro. Natalie's face went from red to white in an instant. That's impossible. I don't even have the access credentials. You have full trustee access, just like Mom and me. Dad set it up that way. You've had it for 8 years. I scrolled to show the weekly transfers. Every Wednesday night for 18 months. Started at $5,000 per week. Escalated to $50,000. Geek's data shows you were at various Las Vegas casinos for every single transaction. The table went silent. Marcus pulled away from Natalie. What is she talking about? I turned the laptop toward him. Your wife has been systematically withdrawing money from the family trust fund for 18 months. She's taken approximately $2.5 million total. The withdrawals all happened from casino locations in Las Vegas. That's not. Natalie started, but her voice broke. Last night, she came to my house for dinner. She asked to use my Wi-Fi. She transferred the last accessible funds, the remaining $2.5 million, and then blamed my 15-year-old son this morning. Marcus was staring at the screen, scrolling through the transactions. His jaw was tight. Las Vegas. You told me those trips were for work conferences. Marcus, I can't explain. You stole from your own family? Mom's voice was barely a whisper. And you blamed Daniel? Daniel lifted his head, tears streaming down his face. I told you I didn't do it. I walked over to my son and hugged him. I know you didn't. Natalie was crying now, her perfect makeup running down her face. I had a problem. I was going to pay it back. I just needed time. You blamed my son, I said quietly. You made him tremble with fear. You made everyone in this family think a 15-year-old boy was a thief, just to cover up your gambling addiction. Marcus stood up. Get your things. We're leaving. Marcus, please. Now, Natalie, we're going home, and then you're going to tell me everything. Every lie, every trip, every dollar. I can't. Then I'm calling my lawyer from the car. The word lawyer seemed to break something in Natalie. She started sobbing, her whole body shaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It started small. Just a few hands of poker. Then it got bigger. I kept thinking I'd win it back. I'd replace everything before anyone noticed. But you didn't win, I said. You lost $2.5 million of family money, and when you finally got caught, you blamed a child. Mom sat down heavily. I need everyone to leave, except Lauren and Daniel. The family filed out slowly. Marcus practically dragged Natalie to the door. She was still crying, still apologizing. He wasn't looking at her. Uncle Robert stopped at the door. I'm sorry we accused Daniel. We should have listened. After they left, Mom looked at Daniel. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I should have believed you. Daniel wiped his eyes. It's okay, Grandma. It's not okay. I'm your grandmother. I'm supposed to protect you, not accuse you. She looked at me. What happens now? Now I call the bank and report the theft. Then I call our lawyer. Natalie stole from a family trust. That's a crime. She's your sister. She's a gambling addict who blamed my child. I can forgive a lot, Mom, but not that. Mom nodded slowly. The money, can we recover it? Maybe some. The offshore account can be traced, but most of it's probably gone. Gambled away over 18 months. What about Daniel's college fund? That's separate. She couldn't touch it. He still has his $250,000. Mom reached over and took Daniel's hand. I'm so proud of you for staying calm, for not breaking down. I was really scared, Daniel admitted. Everyone was looking at me like I'd done something terrible. You did nothing wrong, your aunt did, and she'll face the consequences. Over the next week, the situation unfolded exactly as I'd expected. Marcus filed for divorce on day 3. The gambling addiction and the theft were apparently the final straws in what he later told me had been a troubled marriage for years. Mom contacted our family lawyer, who confirmed that Natalie had committed multiple felonies, theft from a trust, fraud, and potentially wire fraud for the offshore transfers. Natalie checked herself into a gambling addiction treatment facility in Arizona. Her lawyer was working on a plea deal, voluntary repayment of whatever could be recovered, treatment, and probation instead of prison time. The offshore account investigation recovered $340,000. The rest was gone. Casino losses, mostly. Some luxury purchases. A leak showed she'd been living a double life, designer clothes, expensive jewelry, high-stakes poker rooms. Her perfect marriage had been a facade. Marcus told me later that he'd known something was wrong, but had never imagined the scale of it. Daniel went back to school. His friends never knew what had happened, but he was quieter than before, more careful about who he trusted. One afternoon, he came into my office while I was working. Mom, can I ask you something? Of course. Did you know it was Aunt Natalie before you called the bank? I thought about that. I suspected. The numbers didn't add up. The accusation felt desperate, and your aunt had been acting strange for months, but I didn't know for sure until I saw the transaction log. Would you have believed me if there wasn't proof? Yes. How do you know? Because I'm your mother, and I know you. You're not capable of that kind of deception. He nodded. Aunt Natalie was, though. Yes, she was. Does that mean family members can't be trusted? No. It means addiction makes people do terrible things, and desperate people look for scapegoats. But most family members aren't like that. Most people don't steal and lie and blame innocent kids. I hope so. After you left, I sat at my desk and thought about that morning. About 12 people ready to believe a 15-year-old was a criminal. About a sister who'd burned through $2.5 million and then tried to destroy her nephew to save herself. Some betrayals are financial. Some are moral. And some are both. The next Sunday, I got a text from Natalie. She was still in treatment but wanted to apologize directly to Daniel. I asked Daniel if he wanted to talk to her. He thought about it for a long time. Maybe eventually, he said. But not yet. I'm still too angry. That's fair. Do you think she'll ever be okay? I don't know. I hope so. But that's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to move forward. Without her. For now, yes, without her. The trust fund was restructured, new administrator, new rules. No single person could access more than a set amount per month, multiple approval requirements for large transfers. Mom set aside additional funds for Daniel's college as compensation for what he'd endured. And my sister's perfect marriage, her perfect life, her perfect facade, all of it crumbled in those minutes when the transaction log loaded on my laptop screen. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it just shows everyone who you really are. And sometimes that's justice enough.